Revelation, the book by St. John the Divine, reveals Jesus and early Christians knew about the chakras and planetary kundalini. Revelation was thought to be written by St. John the Elder, though some still believe it was St. John the Apostle, around 95 to 96 in the Common Era. For many, it is a mysterious book heavy in symbolic language that most find difficult to interpret. But for those that have a history of its symbolism, rooted in beliefs that go back possibly hundreds or thousands of years before Christianity, it is relatively easy to understand. The book of Revelation is divided into 22 chapters, and in this video we will divide these into 6 sections and give a brief overview on each section. The first section is essentially about St. John's vision of the throne room and involves Chapter 1, the Son of Man with the lampstands, Chapter 2, St. John talks to the churches, that continues in Chapter 3, Chapter 4, St. John enters the throne room. Before St. John has his vision, we are introduced to the 7 lampstands lit with 7 stars. These stars are seen in the yoga tradition when the points or petals of the 7 centers or chakras are fully lit. Each lamp is connected to one of the 7 churches whose positive and negative traits are outlined. As can be clearly seen, these traits show what each church is or is not doing to light up the 7 lamps or chakras. For example, Smyrna is faithful unto death and gets the crown chakra of life. Sardis, works are not perfect in the sight of God, which connects to the third eye or Ajna center. Philadelphia kept its word, which is connected to the throat chakra. Ephesus abandoned love, connected to the heart chakra. Laodicea needs to be more zealous, connected to the solar plexus chakra. Thyatira is immoral, especially in its sexual relations, connected to the sacral center chakra. And Pergamum is trying to seduce people for financial gain, connected to the root or base of the spine chakra. After listing the pros and cons of the churches, St. John goes into the throne room, which is essentially the crown chakra, where he has a vision because the pineal gland is stimulated of those who live in the throne room. The next section, the scroll, Lamb, Lion, and 4 horsemen, has Chapter 5, the presentation of the scroll with 7 seals, Chapter 6, the first 6 seals open, 4 horsemen appear, Chapter 7, sealing of the 144,000, Chapters 8 and 9, the 7th seal opens, and trumpets sound. After the throne room, St. John is given a scroll with 7 seals. The seals indicate that the chakras are not yet open or lit. Here we have the seals of the chakras closed. Then we have the stars when they are fully lit. If this is done properly, then the 144,000 points of the stars or petals of the chakras will be lit correctly, sealing or protecting those who can do this in the future events to come. The stars of the chakras involve 144 points of the stars of the 6 lower chakras times the 1,000 petals of the crown chakra, equaling the 144,000. St. John then gives instructions for how to open the scrolls and light the chakras in the right way. He begins with the first horse appearing, related to the base of the spine chakra, giving the power to conquer selfish and greedy tendencies. Next, related to the second chakra, the second horse removes the peace or passivity that comes from indulging in superficial pleasures. The third horse brings balance to the solar plexus chakra, so we are just and fair with others in the use of our power. The fourth horse holds the power of death to our separative tendencies that block the Christ-like love that comes from the heart chakra. When the 5th chakra or seal is opened, it brings the dead back to life. Those that were afraid to speak now speak openly to avenge the lies that keep others from knowing the truth. When the 6th seal opens, it destroys the outer world and leads us to the inner world, where the Ajna chakra helps us open up our eyes to intuitive vision. Finally, when the 7th seal or the crown chakra opens, we will move into silence as we enter into samadhi, or an inner state of contemplation. Once we know how to open the stars correctly, they awaken through the sounding of the trumpets, which are essentially the sounds of the chakras. If we have not opened these chakras correctly, however, when the trumpets sound or the chakras are stimulated, negative events will transpire. Note, to hear the actual sounds of these trumpets or stars, go to Meditative Mind on YouTube. Look for the video titled All 7 Chakras Healing Chants. This leads us to the 3rd section, the 3 trees and the red dragon, with chapter 10, the angel presenting another scroll for St. John to eat. Chapter 11, olive trees prophesies about 3 woes to come, and then the 7th trumpet sounds. Chapter 12, a red dragon emerges and sends celestial virgin and a male child to the wilderness. But first, St. John must prepare the altar. The dimensions and description of the altar match yogic teachings, describing both the root chakra and the dimensions of the coccyx or tailbone at the root of the spine. On that altar sleeps the red dragon, also known as kundalini in many spiritual traditions. To awaken the dragon, St. John must put a small scroll into his mouth. This small scroll symbolizes the gap that exists between the throat chakra and a minor chakra known as the Alta Major Center, which in yoga traditions was known as the mouth of God. Before the Alta Major Center is activated, 2 trees pop up and give warnings about 3 woes that will come, representing what happens if Kundalini, or the dragon energy, does not go up the central tree, known as the tree of life in the Kabbalah. So here we have the 2 trees, the 2 olive trees, which are the pillars of severity and the pillars of mercy in the Kabbalah, with the pillar of balance being the central tree, or the tree of life. In the yoga tradition, these trees are known as Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. So here we have the pillar of severity as Ida, the pillar of mercy as Pingala, and the pillar of balance as Sushumna. The trees are also related to the 3 parts of the human nervous system. Notice how the human nervous system can look like a tree with branches. We have the parasympathetic system connected to Ida, the sympathetic nervous system connected to Pingala, and Sushumna being the central nervous system. If Kundalini, the dragon, goes up the central channel, the 144,000 points of the stars are lit in the right way, and the celestial virgin, which is the purified earth, and her child, which is Christ-like love, rule the world. But if Kundalini, the dragon, goes up the side channels, the 144,000 points are not lit. Destruction of the earth, the celestial virgin, occurs, and hate versus love of the Christ child dominate the earth. Section 4, the beast and the false prophet. With chapter 13, the beast and the false prophet emerge. Chapter 14, the lamb, the 144,000, angels give warnings. Chapter 15, praises to God, 7 angels with 7 plagues appear. Chapter 16, 7 plagues released. The number 9 is the number with the circle of spirit on top. The 999 signals that the 3 upper chakras have been awakened and are ruling over the animal nature of humanity. When the lower 6 chakras, the 144 points, are ready, the next step is to activate the 1,000 points in the throne room or crown chakra, making again the 144,000. 6 is the number of the circle of spirit on the bottom. The 666 means the circle of spirit has fallen into matter. The animal nature has taken over humanity. As the dragon, kundalini, comes out of the earth, notice how traditionally the earth rules the Muladhara or root chakra. Because the animal nature dominates, the dragon energy spills into the side channels, causing a beast to come out of the sea. Water traditionally rules the sacral or svadhisthana center. Next, a false prophet emerges with fire. Fire traditionally has always ruled the manipura or solar plexus chakra. The false prophet misleads people into worshiping the bestial side of human nature, giving them the mark of the beast or the 666, where the 3 lower chakras dominate their life and kundalini has spilled into the side channels, causing the energy to fall. Now, the false prophets of the churches, who are not zealous enough to teach about love, instead focus on producing signs and miracles to enthrall people to fill their churches, to give them power. Again, the connection to the manipura or solar plexus chakra that Laodicea talked about. Then these false prophets whip up toxic emotions like hate, fear, confusion, chaos, jealousy, and revenge, so their followers act like beasts instead of like loving, Christ-like human beings. That was the problem of Thyresia, connected to water and the Svadhisthana sacral center chakra. Afraid and confused, their followers accept the falsehoods that the false prophets give, allowing the false prophets to seduce and exploit their followers for their own financial gain, which was the problem of the Church of Pergamum, connected to the Earth Muladhara root chakra. The end result? Because the churches no longer teach spiritual truths, people live only through the lower chakras, their animal nature, causing 7 plagues to impact humankind, because they have caused life to become a hell on earth, or Babylon. Section 5, Babylon and the Man on a White Horse, starting with Chapter 17, the harlot of Babylon is judged. Chapter 18, Why Babylon is Fallen. Chapter 19, the celestial virgin and the Lamb of God are married, and a man on a white horse appears, killing the beast and the false prophet. Chapter 20, the dragon is bound for 1,000 years, the battle of Gog and Magog takes place, the book of life is opened, and we have Judgment Day. Because we failed to take care of our earth and keep the feminine and masculine principles, represented by the 2 side trees of Ida and Pingala, in a harmonious balance, Earth has been turned into a whore, for sale to anyone who wants to exploit her resources. When the time comes for Kundalini, the dragon, to rise, as we have seen, it's now going to go into those side channels, giving rise to the false prophet and the beast. Plagues will now ravish the earth, and humanity will be judged for failing to treat all life on earth with Christ-like love and respect. Notice how the whore of Babylon rides a beast with 7 heads. St. John says these represent the fall of 5 kings, which are the 5 lower chakras, which are no longer ruling in the right way. If this is not stopped, 2 more kings will fall in the future, which are essentially the ajna and crown chakras, if beast-like humanity continues to exploit the feminine principle and the earth for its own gain. Fortunately, despite all the horrible plagues that have caused the earth to become a Babylon, there is still hope. As more of humanity decides to see what they have done, which is represented by the opening of the 7 eyes of the Lamb connected to the 7 chakras, and purify themselves with the 7 horns of the Lamb that take out the impurities in the 7 chakras, the earth can become pure or virginal once again. As a prelude to bringing this purification about, the celestial virgin and Lamb marry. And finally, because there's been enough purification, they're able to bring the energy of the dragon kundalini up the central channel. With the energy starting to rise up the central channel once more, a man on a white horse appears. The man on the white horse that St. John talks about is actually drawn from ancient Hindu mythology. Only there the man on the white horse was known as Lord Kalki, one of 10 future kings. Notice the connection to the 10 Sephiroth of the Kabbalah. These kings live in Shambhala, the eastern version of heaven or the New Jerusalem. Kalki in both Hinduism and Buddhism is featured in the teachings of the Kali Chakra. He is the coming avatar who brings heaven back to earth using the teachings of meditation and kundalini yoga. Through these teachings, the dragon kundalini is finally bound and goes back into the root chakra, where he will remain until the next coming new age. To help us understand what St. John is referring to, we need to jump from the individual story of kundalini rising and outline the process of planetary kundalini. The dragon that St. John talks about is really Draco, the dragon, a constellation that plays a significant role in the life of our Earth. As the Earth rotates, it wobbles, causing the vertical axis of our Earth to circle around Draco the dragon. At the time, the horizontal axis of the Earth also circles the ecliptic, where the zodiacal constellations lie. Over time, both the pole stars around the constellation of Draco and the zodiac signs in the ecliptic shift approximately every 2,000 to 2,150 years. In the time of St. John, the pole star was shifting from Thuban to Polaris, whose name essentially means the throne room. Also during the time of St. John, the zodiacal sign on the ecliptic was shifting from Aries to Pisces. About 2,000 years before Jesus, the teachings of Aries the ram and its worship of the ram or lamb of the one God, that one God being whichever faith tradition wanted it to be, and they often fought over which one God should rule, that one God attempted to replace the worship of many gods and goddesses. During the age of Taurus, where the golden calf existed and was worshipped in Egypt, there were many gods and goddesses that reigned not only in Egypt, but in many other different faith traditions around the world. That God, however, remained separate from humans, and it was common for animal and even human sacrifices to be made to one's chosen deity. But when the age of Pisces came about, the teachings of the age of Aries and age of Pisces in St. John's time came into conflict. Now, as planetary kundalini, the dragon, awakened, it shifted its energy over to the new teaching. That teaching was represented by Jesus, who taught that instead of sacrificing animals or humans to some god without, he would represent the last sacrifice, and telling people there would be no more need to sacrifice after him. He also encouraged people to discover the kingdom of heaven within them. However, in the middle of any approximately 2,000-year cycle, around 1,000 years, the dragon of the teachings of the previous age are finally bound. The teachings of the previous age no longer have a significant impact. But why pick the number 1,000 years? Because we've reached the opposite sign of the zodiacal age we are in, which at the time of St. John was the age of Pisces. So around 1,000 years Common Era, we reached the opposite sign of Pisces, which is Virgo. Now notice how in the Bible Jesus feeds the masses with the teachings of the 2 fishes, Pisces, and the loaves made out of the wheat of the harvest sign of Virgo. Notice how Virgo holds some harvest wheat in her hand. And indeed, around 1,000 years ago, the teachings of Jesus as the last sacrifice had spread almost entirely around the world, eliminating almost all human and animal sacrifices to some exterior god. In the minor cycle of Pisces, when we've reached the opposite sign of Virgo, Judgment Day occurs. It is expected that people have assimilated the teachings of Pisces, though many have not. Around 1000 Common Era, a battle of Gog and Magog was taking place. Inwardly, secret societies were still trying to become the 144,000 and get their names written in the Book of Life. Why? Because they're going up the central channel. They've opened 144,000 points, and they reside within the central channel of the Tree of Life. A gateway has opened for them to enter the place of peace, the New Jerusalem, or in the East, it was known as Shambhala. Finally, the last section, Section 6, the New Jerusalem. Chapter 21, the New Heaven, New Earth, New Jerusalem. Chapter 22, Blessings on the Righteous. In the book of Revelation, St. John gives elaborate details of how this city looks, emphasizing especially the number 12. 12 angels, gates, pearls, foundations, coincidentally, 12 zodiacal signs. He also mentions again the 144,000. He even says, with the New Jerusalem, that nothing unclean can enter, no abominations or falsehoods, and only those whose names are written in the book of life, who have opened the 144,000 points, can enter there. He also mentions there is no sun, moon, dark, and that the New Jerusalem is always full of light. In other words, the energies no longer flow up the two side channels where the sun and moon are. They only flow up and down the central channel, which is always bathed in eternal light, as St. John says, or in other words, they are enlightened. So here we have, traditionally in yoga, the moon representing the Ida channel. Remember, St. John says there's no moon, there's no sun, representing the Pingala channel, there's no dark, it's always full of light. Now that we've come to the end of the age of Pisces that the book of Revelation was written for, traditional Christians assume that the New Jerusalem is going to emerge in the United States and will be 1,500 miles wide and 1,500 miles tall. Now, rather bizarrely, that puts their city into the Earth's exosphere, where spaceships fly above the Earth. Still, if we look carefully at the dimensions St. John gives, it is strange to see that factually humans have made it into a place of peace of sorts as we end the age of Pisces when he said the New Jerusalem would come. Why? Because factually we have entered the exosphere and have even begun to build a city there. Now that we've reached the end of the age of Pisces, it might seem that the book of Revelations has come to an end, but it has not. Why? Because the cosmic story continues, and the book of Revelation can apply to our time as well as we enter into the age of Aquarius. During this age of Aquarius, the pole star will again shift, this time from Polaris to Eri, which exist in the constellation of Cepheus, known as the King of Kings, the very King of Kings and Lord of Lords that St. John tells us will rule when the age of Pisces ends. Going forward now, what will this age of Aquarius be like? Perhaps we can look to the symbol of Aquarius for clues. Two waves of energy that represent humanity's increased interconnectivity, which we are already seeing through the creation of the internet. We can also see the teachings of the age of Aquarius emerging as information is being poured out, causing simultaneously greater clarity and confusion as to the nature of reality and humanity's place within the multiverse. We can also see it breaking the genetic code and in the growing emphasis on logic, reason, science, and technology. As humans have started to elevate their minds, Aquarius is fixed air or logic, they will continue to extend their knowledge of the inner kingdom, or that which is normally hidden from their view. The technology that humans embrace will even allow them to factually extend their presence not only into the exosphere, but even far beyond it. These teachings, again, don't apply just to the outer worlds, but the virtual worlds, where humanity learns to function more consciously in the astral realms. Since Aquarius is a sign of universal brotherhood and sisterhood, people will also be seeking equality as never before. This will go on for 1,000 years until the new teachings are integrated more. Then the dragon of kundalini that was released at the start of the age of Aquarius will be thrown down once more when we reach the opposite sign of Leo. Though these outer teachings for the age of Aquarius are valuable for those on the spiritual path, they'll just continue to hide the real teachings of St. John if we're not aware of what those real teachings are. Because the book of Revelation is telling us that no matter what is going on out there, no matter what astrological age we are in and pole shift we are going through, it's still important to do the work of transforming our consciousness in here. Because that's the only way we can open the scroll, unlock the 7 seals, light up the 144,000 points in the stars, and enter the throne room or crown chakra and get our names written in the book of life, where we will have life everlasting because we are enlightened. For those of you who are sincere seekers, then, get to work. Did you enjoy this video? Then support this work. You can do so by becoming a patron at Soul to Spirit or visit our website at soultospirit.com. If you subscribe as a patron, you'll get copies of charts, books, and an inside look into our process and what's next. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel, like, comment, share, and don't forget to click the alert button so you'll know when new videos are coming. Finally, these are the credits, and as always, I want to tell you thanks for watching.